I'm not a crier, but I'm to the point where I'm broken, you know what I'm saying?
Angela Deems certainly knows how to bring drama wherever she goes, but this courtroom outburst seems to have taken things to a whole new level. Celebrity Insider News. What was supposed to be a straightforward divorce hearing turned into a spectacle as Angela's emotions got the best of her. The tension in the room reportedly skyrocketed, especially as she clashed with the judge in a way no one expected. Her outburst didn't just stop at heated words, it disrupted the whole proceeding, and ultimately, Angela ended up facing the consequences for breaking court rules and challenging the judge's authority. Meanwhile, Michael's calm demeanor in contrast to Angela's meltdown really underscored how divided the two have become. With the added tension of dividing their assets, it's no wonder emotions are running high, but Angela's approach may not have worked in her favor. This kind of behavior could have serious implications for her case, especially if the judge sees her actions as a disregard for legal proceedings. Angela's tension seemed to reach a boiling point when the judge began discussing Michael's request for asset division and compensation for emotional distress. Her icy glares, clenched fists, and constant fidgeting all hinted at the storm brewing inside her. Witnesses described her as a ticking time bomb, barely able to contain the frustration that had been building up throughout the hearing. When Michael's calm demeanor met with the judge's mention of his compensation request, it was as though Angela's last shred of control snapped. The idea of Michael asking for compensation for the pain he endured during their marriage likely struck a nerve, especially given Angela's own strong feelings about the challenges they faced. As Michael sat quietly, exuding a sense of confidence that the court would side with him, Angela's emotions erupted, transforming the courtroom from a place of order to one of chaos. This clash between Angela's explosive response and Michael's composed presence in court paints a vivid picture of their fractured relationship. Fans have long seen Angela as outspoken and fiery, but this latest outburst raises questions about how the court might view her actions and whether it could impact the division of their assets. Angela's intense reaction underlines the deep emotional stakes involved, leaving observers to speculate on how this volatile showdown might influence the judge's final decision. Angela's fury escalated rapidly, cutting off the judge mid-sentence with accusations of bias. Her voice echoed through the courtroom as she declared, "This whole thing is rigged." She accused the court of siding with Michael, stating they were letting him walk all over her. Her words were filled with anger, and she ignored the court's formalities entirely. Despite repeated warnings from the judge to calm down, Angela's outburst only intensified. She waved her hands, her frustration evident as she accused the judge and the legal system of unfairness. The tension in the room thickened with each accusation, her allegations becoming more personal and directed not just at Michael, but at the very authority of the court. The breaking point came when Angela crossed a line, turning her anger directly toward the judge. In a shocking moment, she threatened to use her fame and media influence to ruin his reputation if he didn't side with her. "You don't know who you're messing with," she warned defiantly, adding, "I will make sure everyone knows how unfair you are." This bold threat left everyone in the courtroom in shock, marking a dramatic and unexpected twist in the proceedings. Angela's explosive reaction may not only affect the outcome of her case, but could also lead to further legal consequences for her disruptive behavior in court. The judge's command for Angela's arrest sent a shockwave through the courtroom. Officers moved swiftly, approaching her with caution as her emotions escalated. Angela's lawyer, visibly distressed, attempted to intervene, but her fiery accusations had already sealed her fate. Angela's initial shock turned into fierce defiance, and she continued to hurl accusations, declaring that the court was unfairly siding with Michael. The quiet tension erupted into a flurry of action, with officers urging her to cooperate, though she barely seemed to register their instructions. For those witnessing, the scene felt surreal. One moment, a tense divorce proceeding, and the next, a courtroom spiraling into chaos. As officers placed Angela in handcuffs, she struggled, her voice echoing with anger and disbelief. Bystanders watched in silence as she was led out of the room, still making her frustrations clear. Her attorney, unable to de-escalate, stood by helplessly, knowing any further attempt to intervene might make things worse. Angela's shouting continued as she was escorted to a holding cell where she was given time to calm down. Yet the confinement seemed only to fuel her indignation as she paced, loudly proclaiming her innocence and accusing the legal system of targeting her unfairly. The echoes of her protests filled the corridor, leaving little doubt that Angela wasn't going down quietly. Once transferred to the local jail, Angela's anger hadn't waned. She continued to tell her side of the story to those around her, insisting that her actions were justified and the entire case was rigged against her. True to form, she made sure that everyone who would listen knew that she was far from defeated. Determined to expose what she saw as a grave injustice, Angela vowed to turn this ordeal into a battle that would play out beyond the courtroom. Those who saw her left with no doubt. This was only the beginning of what was sure to be an explosive saga. Angela's continued defiance outside the courtroom added more fuel to the fire. Her refusal to cooperate with the officers and her relentless shouting not only showed her fiery personality, but also reflected poorly on her. For someone known for her drama on 90 Day Fiance, this was Angela at her most unfiltered. But in a legal setting, her attitude was backfiring badly. By resisting the officers and further escalating the situation, she was digging herself into a deeper legal mess. Experts have pointed out that her actions might now seriously jeopardize her position in the divorce, as judges rarely view such courtroom disruptions favorably. With her actions directly challenging the judge's authority, she's potentially given Michael an upper hand in their asset division, something Angela likely didn't intend. The repercussions of Angela's courtroom antics might extend beyond just her divorce. Her open defiance and direct threats to the judge could lead to separate criminal charges if deemed as attempts to intimidate a court official. If these statements are classified as intimidation, Angela could face severe penalties, including possible jail time and substantial fines. This would not only complicate her divorce, but also result in a legal storm that could damage her public image even further. As a public figure, these actions are unlikely to sit well with fans or the media, casting a shadow over her reputation and bringing her closer to a full-blown legal crisis. Meanwhile, Michael's legal team took full advantage of Angela's outburst, using it to bolster their case. They argued that Angela's explosive temper and public loss of control reflected an ongoing pattern of emotional instability, one that had plagued their marriage. This portrayal allowed them to position Michael as the more stable party, justifying his request for compensation due to the emotional strain he endured. By framing Angela's behavior as a demonstration of her unpredictability, Michael's team set up a compelling case for a more favorable settlement. Outside the courtroom, fans and onlookers were divided, but many seemed to feel that Angela's latest episode was a step too far, viewing her actions as proof of her volatility on and off the screen. As the case drags on, Angela's future seems increasingly precarious. Her continuous disregard for courtroom decorum and her defiant attitude toward legal authority could bring severe consequences. Each outburst only heightens her risk of additional charges, turning what began as a divorce battle into a far more complex legal dilemma. Her conduct is sparking widespread concern, raising questions about her ability to manage legal proceedings responsibly, which could affect any future cases she might face. This public scrutiny might also impact her career, as her volatile persona could begin to overshadow her reality TV stardom and damage her reputation as a public figure. What do you all think? Was this just Angela being Angela, or has she gone too far this time? Do you think this incident will impact the outcome of their divorce? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for updates on this unfolding drama.